Welcome into another episode of Wiltfong Whiparound. I'm Grace Remington with our Director of Recruiting, Steve Wiltfong. And Steve, the theme of the week is the back-to-back national champions, Georgia Bulldogs. But there is no rest for the Kings of college football. They are back on the recruiting trail, trying to add to their top class in the 2024 cycle with a junior day this weekend. But they also have a parade on Saturday. So tell us, how is this scheduling going to work out?
Yeah, Grace, Georgia did this last year. They invited some of the top prospects in the country to come to Athens and watch them celebrate a national championship and soak in that environment and get a feel for what it could be like for them if they chose to play football at Georgia. Now, this is a weekend where maybe the recruits on campus will spend a little less time with the staff because they'll be enjoying the moment with their fellow staffers and players. But certainly the guys that are coming to campus are coveted recruits that already have a great relationship with Georgia and are just going to come in and get a look at what a national championship celebration is. One of those names is going to be five-star defensive back, the number one corner in the 24/7 Sports recruiting rankings, Ellis Robinson IV. I love where Georgia stands with him. He recently put out his top 5, but I think that Georgia is the one to beat for Ellis. He's been to Athens several times, including the win over Tennessee in the fall, has a great relationship with Fran Brown, Will Muschamp, and Kirby Smart. And I think that Georgia is really trending hard for Ellis Robinson as they put together what could possibly be the number one ranked recruiting class in 24/7 Sports history. When you look at the names, the highest ranked players in the country right now, and where Georgia stands, starting right at the top of the list with Dylan Raiola, who I crystal balled to the Bulldogs earlier this week. He attended Georgia's national championship win. I expect him to be on Georgia's campus sometime in the near future. Expected on Georgia's campus this week, the number one defensive edge rusher in the 24/7 Sports composite player rankings, Colin Simmons. It'll be his first visit on campus. LSU is a program that's made an early impression on him. Texas and TCU certainly, but he's been building a really good relationship with Coach Deribe. Loves the way Georgia plays. He's excited to get to Athens and check it out. KJ Bolden, the number one athlete or number one safety in the country, but could also play receiver at Georgia and loves Todd Monken's offense. He told me he could be on campus this weekend. Rusty Manziel has a list of talented visitors expected on campus at Georgia this weekend, including one of the most talented offensive linemen in the country in Daniel Calhoun. Linebacker commit DeMarcus Riddick will be back. Receiver commit Sokovi White will be back. Quarterback commit Ryan Puglisi will be back. Safety commit Peyton Woodyard will be back. Some of the top players on their board, underclassmen, Tyler Atkinson, Micah DeBose. Those are some of the names that they really covet. Dylan Stewart is one of the most coveted edge rushers in the country from Washington, D.C. Friendship. He's expected at Georgia. So, and before Georgia even welcomes in all these prospects on campus this weekend, they could add another talented prospect to the recruiting class. Rockledge, Florida High, top 247 safety, Jalen Hayward's going to announce his college decision. And I love where Georgia stands for the dynamic defensive back, 10.5 speed in the 100-meter dash. He could play safety or nickel on the next level. He's an absolute tone-setting tackler, 3 forced fumbles, picked off 2 passes as a junior, also shines on offense when asked to. Loved his visit to Athens, has built a great relationship with Fran Brown. I think he'll be in Georgia's class. We rank him as the number 2 safety in the country, number 36 player overall. Could play safety or nickel for the Bulldogs. They're putting together a special defensive back class, and Jalen Hayward, I think, will ultimately be in the fold as well.
Wow. So you're saying Georgia 2024 could be the highest rated recruiting class of all time. That's pretty impressive. Right now they have 7 commits with an average rating of 95.5. So they're on pace for a highly rated class like that. Tennessee's 2024 class has 3 commits. So Josh Heupel and the gang trying to add more among the crop of recruits they got on campus this weekend for their junior day. And it sounds like there's quite a star-studded list of guys there. So what are some names we should keep an eye on?
Yeah, Tennessee, fresh off its first 11-win season since 2001, Grace. The Orange Bowl victory over Clemson in dominant fashion. There's a lot of momentum around Tennessee, who had the number 9 ranked recruiting class in 2023. They have their eyes set on another monster class in 2024. 3 5-stars headline the list of prospects expected in Knoxville this weekend. You have receiver Ryan Wingo. You have the number one defensive lineman in the top 247, Williams Nwaneri. And then you have the number one athlete, Mike Matthews from the state of Georgia. Mike Matthews attended Tennessee's victory over Alabama. Ryan Wingo was at Tennessee's victory over Florida. And Nwaneri told me at the end of the fall, Tennessee was one of the programs he's been talking to the most. So I know he's excited to get up to Knoxville and check out what Tennessee has to offer. Wingo's going to stay overnight, have breakfast with the coaches on Sunday. I really like where Tennessee stands with him. He's got upcoming visits to Texas A&M, Oregon, and Colorado. There's several other suitors, but I think Tennessee has set the bar for Wingo, and they're definitely in the thick of it for those other 2 5-stars. Some other prominent names expected at Tennessee who I have crystal ball to the Vols. You have 4-star in-state athlete Boot Carter, who Ohio State likes as a running back to tell you his versatility, but Boot Carter was a lockdown defensive back at Tennessee's camp. They love him on that side of the ball. Marcus Goree Jr., another in-state recruit that Tennessee is super high on, returns. Edwin Spillman is the number one player in the state, a linebacker. His brother's taking his official visit. His brother Nate signed with Tennessee in 2023. He's taking his official visit this weekend, so Edwin will be part of that all weekend. Some other high-profile top 247 names include Jalen Crawford, the number 5 cornerback in the country. He's Matthews' teammate. You have 2 of the best offensive linemen in America, Donovan Harbor and Josiah Thompson, are expected. Top 247 athlete Jordan Ross, a top 100 recruit from California. He's already been to Tennessee 4 times, so this will be his 4th time, so no question. He's super high on the Vols. 4-star athlete JJ Harrell tells me he's going to be there. It's going to be a big group from Baltimore, St. Francis, as they send 7 or 8 guys down. In-state quarterback Cutter Boley from the 2025 class, top 247 recruit expected. Tennessee plays Kentucky basketball at noon, so that should set the tone for what should be a fantastic junior day. Danny Okoye is another defensive lineman that's really blown up. Ohio State, the latest to offer him. Tennessee getting him to campus.
All right, well, just because the football season's over doesn't mean Cruton season's over. There's plenty of visits going on this weekend, so let's do a whip around here. Which name should we be watching this weekend, Steve?
Well, a few names. Let's start with David Stone, 5-star defensive lineman from IMG Academy. He's going back up to Michigan State. He recently put out a top 10, but I think Michigan State's near the top of that list, 1 or 2, alongside Oklahoma. Got a terrific relationship with the Michigan State staff, likes the players in the locker room. Got a chance to visit them earlier this year for the game against Wisconsin. Coming back, I expect them to take an official visit to Michigan State. So Michigan State getting David Stone to campus quite a bit, making an impression on him. So we'll see what happens. Top 247 running back Jordan Marshall from the state of Ohio is going to be back at Michigan this weekend. Michigan's in a terrific spot for Jordan Marshall, in my opinion, led by Mike Hart's efforts and certainly the way that Michigan's run the football on the field. He's been to Ann Arbor several times now, Ohio State, Tennessee, some of the other major contenders for Jordan Marshall. He's one of the most coveted skill players in the Midwest. Aaron Hampton from the Lone Star State is going to take his visit to Alabama this weekend. And I think Alabama is the one to beat for the former Texas commit, top 247 recruit from Dangerfield, Texas, who's a dynamic receiver that could also end up in the secondary, but Alabama recruiting him as a wideout. I think that they're the one to beat coming into the visit. Jalen Harvey will be back at Penn State this weekend. He is someone that I think that the Nittany Lions are the one to beat for out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. Quince Orchard, a 6'2", 235-pound edge rusher. Crystal ball already trending toward Penn State, and I like the Nittany Lions for him as they try to put together another fantastic recruiting class.
Texas just landed its 2024 quarterback to follow Arch Manning, Trey Owens. Steve, what can you tell us about him?
He's a 6'5", 200-pound passer out of Cy-Fair High that led his team to a district championship as a junior, and with that really elevated his stock around the state. Texas kept tabs on him all fall and offered him a scholarship in November, late in the year. He threw for over 3,000 yards and 34 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions. Grace completed 67% of his passes. I think he's got a lot of physical upside as he grows into that 6'5" body. And when you turn on the film, I think you see a fearless quarterback, a guy that stands in the face of pressure and still delivers the football accurately. He's a guy that can navigate the pocket and extend plays, but I think under duress, he's a guy that stays calm and poised and makes the right play. And he had a fantastic junior year. Texas, he was building a relationship with Texas well before they offered. It was the scholarship he really wanted, and he's excited to go in there and compete with Arch Manning, Malik Murphy, Quinn Ewers, whoever. He thinks that that's the kind of competition that can elevate his game. He's excited to see where that goes. He's not coming to Austin to be a career backup. He looks forward to competing against those guys, and he thinks that his quote, "It'll give me good competition, but I feel if I work my butt off, I can compete with those guys." And Sarkisian and Milwee believe it too.
Love that competitive spirit. All right, sounds like Clemson could be adding a third commit to its 2024 class. What's the latest on the Tigers?
Yeah, Christian Beneker out of Marion Central Catholic in Woodstock, Illinois, trending towards Clemson on the crystal ball. 6'5", 240-pound playmaker, Grace, a guy that's a big play pass catcher and a mismatch nightmare. Also a very talented basketball player. Ohio State and Oregon, the other finalists for Beneker. But I like where Clemson stands for him. Clemson has 2 early commits in the 2024 class, in Tavoy Fegan and Nolan Hauser, a kicker from North Carolina. And this is a guy that Clemson's extremely high on, and I think could be a big-time difference maker for them for years to come.
All right, let's get to some mailbag questions. Thank you, everyone, for sending them in, and please continue to do so throughout the week. You can tweet them at 247 Sports. Our first question comes from Seth B.A. Knoll, who asks, do you think Florida State could rise to become the recruiting power in the ACC?
Well, I think that there's a lot of excitement around the program right now. When you look at the season that they had, 10 wins, and they're off and running early in the 2024 class, Grace. They have the nation's number 4 haul in the country, headlined by one of the best running backs in America, Cameron Davis. I think that they have a coaching staff that really attacks it on the trail. I think that they're a program that you're trying to kind of stay in that top 10, the top 15 recruiting class, though. But they're crushing the portal. I mean, they have the number 1 transfer portal class in the country right now on 24/7 Sports. So there's many ways that you can build your roster, and they've become the transfer portal kings right now this cycle. And with the way they've recruited a top 20 class in 2023, they're in the top 5 early in 2024. They have the number 1 portal class in 2023. I like the way that they're bringing their roster together, and there's many, many different ways you can accumulate talent now.
Yeah, Norvell dominating the portal. The last time they had the top recruiting class in the ACC was 2017. And from there, they had the top class from 17 to 2010. So been a while since they had that stretch of dominance, but looks like they're getting there. All right, our next question from Jay Corrigan. Outside of CJ Carr, who in Notre Dame's 2024 class are you really high on?
Notre Dame, they obviously have the number 3 class early in the 2024 cycle. I know Cam Williams out of Glenbard South, a 6'2", 185-pound receiver that they're excited about. And look, Notre Dame, they need more playmakers in that wide receiver room. I thought that they did a good job recruiting the position in 2023, but Cam Williams will be another nice addition for them. Jack Larson, a tight end from Charlotte Christian, a powerhouse program in North Carolina, a nice pickup. And Aeneas Williams out of Hannibal, Missouri, 5'10", 195-pound running back, a guy that can fly, another potential dynamic playmaker for Notre Dame. I think if you look at the way that they've recruited the last 2 cycles, they've added a lot of speed and playmaking ability to the running back and receiver rooms, and that remains the case in 2024.
All right, and our final question from AliCon19. Which defensive player in the 2023 class do you think could make an impact as a freshman?
Well, there's several, but I think it starts with Caleb Downs out of Mill Creek High, Houston, Georgia, the best high school football player in the country, in my opinion. 19 interceptions in his career, had another interception in the All-America Bowl. He's physically ready to play. He's a super high football IQ player, very instinctive, always around the ball, really good tackler. Could be an SEC running back if he wanted to be. Alabama's got a big need in their secondary. I think Caleb Downs is going to be a 4-year or 3-year starter for them, ultimately win the Thorpe Award. And he's just one of the more talented high school football players that I've covered. He's following a recruiting class that had Georgia produced Travis Hunter the year before, Caleb Downs. I mean, I think those guys are as terrific prospects that Peach State has produced. And when you start talking about their kind of legacy, I said that Travis Hunter was the best two-way player to come out of Georgia since Champ Bailey. I don't think Caleb Downs is far behind.
Ooh, all right. Lots of good predictions there for him. All right. Well, thank you, Steve. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back Monday with a new episode. Until then, remember to subscribe to the 24 Sports YouTube channel to follow all of the latest recruiting news throughout the weekend and intel you can't get anywhere else. We will see you back here Monday. Have a good weekend.